Hey, Judge, can you hear me?
I can. Are we ready?
I think we're ready.
Okay, are we going to do Mr. McKay's first?
Yes, Judge, I think that would.
Okay. All right, Hutchinson County Court is now in session, sitting as the probate court to hear the application to admit the will of the late Gerald Edwin McKay to probate, and then also Dolores Louise McKay to probate. So Vicki Diane Brown is the only one providing testimony.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, Vicki, if you'll just raise your right hand. In this case before the court, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Crush, may I proceed?
Thank you, Judge. Would you state your full name, please, Vicki?
Vicki Diane Brown.
And Vicki, you are the applicant, are you not, in this application that we filed to probate the last will and testament of Gerald Edwin McKay as a probate, as a muniment of title? Is that correct?
Yes.
And what was your relationship to Mr. McKay?
I'm his daughter.
And Mr. McKay was born on November 23rd, 1934 in Morewood, Oklahoma. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
And he died on November the 4th, 2024 in Borger, Hutchinson County, Texas. Is that correct?
Yes.
And he was 89 years of age at the time of his death. Is that right?
Yes.
And you are familiar, are you not, with the document that we have filed as the last will and testament of Gerald Edwin McKay, dated November 3rd, 2023. Is that correct?
Yes.
And as far as you know, that will was never revoked or amended or changed in any way. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And no children were born to or adopted by Mr. McKay after the date of that will. Is that correct?
Correct.
And no marriage was ever dissolved after the date of that will. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And he was married one time, and that was to Dolores Louise Cardin McKay. Is that correct?
Yes.
And they were married on May the 1st, 1955 in Sayre, Oklahoma. Is that right?
That is right. Yes.
And he was married to her at the date of his death. Is that correct?
Yes.
And there were two children born of this marriage. That's Kathy Lynn Emmert, and she predeceased your father on February the 2nd, 2009. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then you are the other child of the marriage. Is that correct?
That is right.
And your father's will did not name the state of Texas or any agency of the state of Texas or a charitable organization as a devotee or beneficiary. Is that correct?
That is right. Yes.
And he did not receive any Medicaid benefits on or after March the 1st, 2005. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you are familiar, are you not, with your father's financial affairs?
Yes.
And you know that his estate does not owe any unpaid debt that's not secured, like real estate or this type of thing. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So therefore, there is no necessity for a full-blown probate in this case. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Judge, at this time, we would offer the last will and testament of Gerald Edwin McKay as a probate to probate as a muniment of title.
And I have reviewed the proposed e-filed order. So after hearing the testimony, it will be the order of the court that the last will and testament of the late Gerald Edwin McKay be admitted to probate as a muniment of title.
Now, continuing, you are also the applicant, are you not, in the estate of Dolores Louise McKay. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
And your relationship to Dolores Louise McKay?
Daughter,
And she was born on January the 30th, 1937 in Sweetwater, Oklahoma. Is that correct?
yes.
And died on December the 9th, 2024 in Amarillo, Potter County, Texas. Is that correct?
Yes,
And she was 87 years old at the time of her death. Is that correct?
yes.
And you're familiar with the document that we have filed dated November the 3rd, 2023, which we filed as your mother's last will and testament. Is that correct?
Yes,
And to your knowledge, that will was neither amended or revoked or changed in any way after the date of that will. Is that correct?
yes, it is.
And no children were born to or adopted by your mother, and no marriage was dissolved after the date of that will. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And she was married one time, and that was to Gerald Edwin McKay. And they were married May the 1st, 1955 in Sayre, Oklahoma. Is that correct?
Yes,
And the same two children were born of that marriage as you previously testified to. Is that correct?
yes,
And her will, like your father's, does not name the state of Texas or any agency of the state or any charitable organization as a devotee or beneficiary. Is that correct?
that is correct.
And your mother did not receive Medicaid benefits on or after March the 1st, 2005. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you are likewise familiar with your mother's financial affairs. Is that right?
That is right. Yes,
And you know that there are no unpaid debts of her estate that is not secured by liens on real estate, this type of thing. Is that correct?
it is correct.
And since there are no debts, there is no necessity for an administration of this estate. Is that correct?
Correct.
Judge, we would offer the last will and testament of Dolores Louise McKay to probate as a muniment of title only.
So I have reviewed this order also, and so after hearing the information today, it will be the order of the court that the last will and testament of the late Dolores Louise McKay be admitted to probate as a muniment of title.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, y'all have a good day.
Thank you. You too.